Namaste and hi friends, it's Parvati here with Visionary Veda, bringing you your Vedic Astrology report for this March 2022. Now this is going to be a super in-depth and important report because in April we're going to be having big planetary shifts happening in the sky. We've got Jupiter, Saturn, Rahu, and Ketu all changing signs. So this month in March is kind of a culmination, even maybe some sort of a stagnation of planetary energies. And I'm going to go over this with you in depth, as well as the energies at play for the super powerful new moon that's happening tomorrow, March 2nd, in the nakshatra of Shatabishak. So let's get started. Oh, I'm also going to go over the energies that have been leading up until this period because, as some of you who I am very grateful reached out and noticed, I have not been able to get online to post videos, but I am back and would like to cover a little bit of the ground that I was not able to cover for you guys. So, that being said, let's get started. So, first and foremost, last night, February 28th, and today, March 1st, is known as a very potent night rather, of Lord Shiva, Maha Shivaratri. For those of you who do not know about Shivaratri, it happens on the 14th Diti, or the 14th phase of the waning moon. It happens every month, but this month especially is the Maha Shivaratri. It's a great, grand celebration and worship and veneration of the mighty Lord Shiva, who grants us the boons of death or dissolution of that which has been keeping us in the dark, and the rebirth or the regeneration of those things that will illuminate our consciousness. So in India and in other parts of the world, we have an all-night celebration, and we sing songs and we celebrate and venerate the mighty Lord Shiva. So that just happened, and as I'm speaking, it's March 1st, and it's still, even though it's daytime, it's still like the 14th Diti, or the 14th phase of the moon. So that energy is still with us. Now, this March is like super important because, as you must be feeling, the energies are like intense. The energies of stagnation, of almost like an energetic constipation, of many different factors pushing and pulling us. If we have any kind of decision to make, there's a lot of confusion around it. And there's a lot of reasons why this is happening. So let's just start and dive in there. Number one, since December, okay, maybe I should back up a little bit. Since December, we have been in what's known as a Kala Sarpa Yoga. And this is when all of the planets are hemmed in between the north node Rahu and the south node Ketu, okay? So this started that feeling of being sort of boxed in, sort of stuck, sort of not sure of what direction to go, having a hard time to digest what is going on in our lives or any kind of new things that are happening in our lives. There's been a lot of confusion around it because the North Node Rahu and the South Node Ketu, it's like these karmic events that we're confused about what direction to move in. Okay? Then in December, we had the Venus begin to retrograde, and Venus started to move backwards into the sign of Sagittarius. Along with that Venus retrograde, we had the Mercury retrograde going on. So there was a lot of going over old ground within us, especially financially and with the media. A lot of questioning of, okay, feeling that there's a big change coming, but not sure quite how best to approach this change. So kind of retreating back and taking stock, taking a look at our finances, taking a look at how we do commerce, taking a look at how we generate abundance, right? Also, maybe questioning several of our associations as well as our relationships. Are these the right associations for me to move forward in integrity? Are these the right relationships for me to be in? So this was happening in January, right? And then in February, or in the end of January, we had this meeting. In February as well, we had this meeting of Venus and Mars. Very strong meeting, an exact conjunction. And I can't remember the date off the top of my head. I think it was the first couple of weeks of January, so forgive me if I'm wrong. I don't have my chart in front of me, but there was this intense conjunction of Mars and Venus, which has continued from the sign of Sagittarius into the sign of Capricorn. And as of yesterday, or the day before, Mars has moved into Capricorn, and Venus shortly follows it. So today, we have in the sky an incredible yoga happening. We had Shivaratri yesterday, and yesterday we had this, we had Saturn, Mars, Venus, Mercury, and the moon, and the outer planet Pluto, all in the sign of Capricorn, which makes it a very pressurized kind of energy that we should all be feeling. Now, Saturn does very well in his own sign, and Mars is exalted in the sign of Capricorn. But we also have like tight conjunctions happening in Capricorn with Mars and Venus still conjunct. They've been conjunct for the past several weeks, as well as Mercury and Saturn conjunct. So what does this mean? You know, Saturn, the sign of discipline, of establishment, of order, with Mercury. So the media and the way we've been communicated and the way we communicate on a larger scale is coming under scrutiny. We may not be getting the communications that we've been receiving may be a bit fear or anxiety laden, because Saturn is a sign of anxiety and fear. We might be feeling or being prodded by this media to induce further fear and confusion, because Rahu is also aspecting this sign of Capricorn. Okay, then we have the Mars and the Venus together. Now, Mars is the sign of the warrior. It's the planet of the warrior. Venus is the planet of the diplomat. So we have these two energies at odds. Unfortunately, Mars is going to win this energetic tug of war because it's in its exalted sign. So we're going to have a lot of energetic feelings of rash and impulsive type of decision making. Now with Saturn there, we're going to want to be rash and impulsive, but Saturn, since it's a slow and stable planet, is going to kind of make us feel like we're being held back. Okay? Now, again, with the Saturn and Mercury conjunction, Saturn is also established forms of communication and media. So the established forms is what is going to be filtering our information through. Just be aware of it, right? Saturn also can produce, like I said before, fear. So even though Mars wants to impulsively move ahead, that fear might be helping us to not be so impulsive and to keep and to wait and be patient, Saturn, and take a step back. All right, so this is what's happening in the sign of Capricorn. But to add to it, we have the Sun and a combust Jupiter with Neptune. Now, I don't usually use the outer planets, but in this case, I want to talk about the outer planets because it's really strong what's happening right now. We have the Sun and Jupiter in Saturn's other sign of Aquarius. So all of the planets, including Pluto, including Neptune, are all in Saturn-ruled signs. So this is really, really strong right now, okay? Because Saturn is king for this configuration. Not only is Saturn strong in his own sign of Capricorn, but all the planets are under the lordship of Saturn. So what does this mean? It is an intensely karmic time for us all right now. So the best advice I can give, since Jupiter is also combust, the guru, the wisdom that we need right now to navigate through these karmic times is not available to us because Guru Jupiter is in the rays of the sun. So be aware of a lot of egoic, karmic backlash to come. What we reap is what we sow. And now is the time for things that are happening in our lives actively, which are confusing us because Rahu is also giving that aspect. And it's giving us pressure because we're in the Kala Sarpa Yoga, right? And is also confusing us because Neptune is with Jupiter. So it's a lot of deception and a lot of confusion and a lot of wanting to move forward and establish, break out of this pressurized box. We want to break out of it and move forward, but it's not the time. The time right now is to really retreat, gather all of our energies, because there's so many different planets vying for our attention, and seeing all that stagnancy release. It's like I hate to say it, it's not the best way to say it, but it's like this sort of energetic constipation that we're feeling. We're feeling that we need to get things done, we need to move forward, but yet we're stuck. We're stuck with that Saturn and that Mercury conjunction. We're stuck with that Mars and that Venus conjunction. We're like confused with the Neptune, with the Jupiter and the Sun, just sort of outshining the energies of clarity at the moment. And this is going to continue throughout the end of the month. Now, once April comes, we're going to be able to shift out of that. So just to talk about this new moon really quickly. So right now the moon is with, yesterday in Shivaratri, the moon was in Capricorn with Mars, with Venus, with Mercury, with Saturn. Now the moon has moved to join the sun and Jupiter. Now, even though Jupiter is combust, even though it's sitting with Neptune, that can give us confusion, it's still all of the luminaries coming together in the sign of radical change, in the sign of communities networking together to support one another in growing into the next phase of our evolution. So it's really big on a collective level what is happening with all the planets in the sign of Saturn. The chickens have come home to roost. It can feel very uncomfortable when we're facing this, but with this new moon, it's a beautiful time to really plant our seeds, our intentions of change, to look at that which is giving us pressure and rising to the occasion, dealing with things that have not been dealt with, that we've been putting off. Taking our time, but staying focused. Taking our time with things, Saturn, but staying focused and diligent with that Mars. You know, Saturn, Mercury, Venus, Mars, all in Capricorn. Mars exalted, Saturn being the Lord, Venus and Mercury being friends. Okay? It's a churning, it's a working together. It's like, how can we take all of these energies and use them to transform? Pluto is sitting there as well. Usually I don't talk about the outer planets, but in this report I kind of feel like it's important to, because if we can utilize these energies correctly, then we can use it for great transformation and movement forward. Sun, Jupiter, Moon, and we have Neptune, but all the luminaries, the sattvic signs in the sign of Aquarius, also lorded by Saturn. The sattvic signs, the luminary signs. So how can we take this pressure that's being put upon us and use it for our spiritual awakening and growth? Our spiritual realization here that those outward forces are ultimately not what's in control. It's a reflection. It's all just a reflection of the karmas that we have already undertaken, the actions we've undertaken, the giving away of our sovereignty, right? It's all coming back for us to see and move past. Again, in April, this is really going to take a leap forward, a high-speed leap forward, lots of changes. So this is the time to prepare the ground, to face our karmas, to come with awareness as to how not to continue to recreate the same thing. How can we change it and wake up so that we can create something new, something more aligned with sattva, with the luminaries? Some people might think that we're just dreaming with Neptune there, but this is a chance for us to bring our dreams into reality instead of our karmic mistakes. Okay, it's a time to reset and really come from a place of newness, of clarity, of our dreams, of reaching for our dreams, and not just unconsciously repeating the same mistakes over and over and over again throughout the course of humanity, right? Those that are not aware of history are doomed to repeat it. So this is a time of great awareness, and the pressure is on, because if we want to change, we have to try something new. We have to let go of our comfort zone. We have to step in with a new level of awareness, and that can feel really uncomfortable. My advice is to purge it. Purge that stagnancy. Let go of the comfort zone. Trust the luminaries, the sattva, the spiritual knowledge that we all inherently have to move forward, and in faith and in cooperation, the sign of Aquarius, with one another. Now, the new moon is happening in the sign of Shatabishak, which is the nakshatra of Shattabishak, which is symbolized by a circle, an empty circle or a full circle, but kind of like a Zen, like a zero, right? It is known to be the 100 healers or 10,000 healers. but it's empty. Why is it empty? So we can allow space for new inspirations, new realizations, new awarenesses to fill, which in turn are going to be helpful and healing to all of society and all of humanity. So I hope that was helpful. I did make some notes here because I want to make sure that I went over everything. So yes. One of the other things I didn't mention is March 2nd, Jupiter's been sitting in the sign of Aquarius for a while. So on March 2nd, it changes nakshatras. It's been in Shattabishak, but it's also, been like combust in the rays of the sun. So as Jupiter moves out to the next nakshatra, which is Purva Bhadrapada, which is the beginning of the letting go, of the healing. In order to heal, we have to let go and allow space for the healer to enter. The moon is going to be new in this nakshatra of Shattabishak. So it's like Jupiter making space, moving into Purva Bhadrapada, which it lords, and then the moon coming into Shattabishak. So it's a really intense time, and I wish you all the best with the transitions and the decisions you have to make. Don't rush into anything. Really sit with it. Release the pressure. Let go of needing to have all the answers. Understand that it's a great time of confusion. Times of changes are great times of confusion. And know that come April, you will be able to move forward in feeling secure in the decisions that you make. Right? So that's going to do it for me. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you to everybody who has written to me and was concerned about me not being online giving the reports. I'm happy to be back. Once again, this is a Vedic astrology report. So if you would like to get a reading or do a Vedic astrology session with me to see how all of these intense energies are playing out in your life, please feel free to reach out to me at the email below, which is visionaryveda@gmail.com. Thank you so much. Enjoy the life, my friends. This is a huge, huge turning point in all of our lives. It's a very exciting one. But as usual, it's always darkest and scariest before the dawn. Have faith. Hang in there. Know that using your spiritual guidance, you will be making the right decision. All right, until next time, namaste, and enjoy the life. Take care now. Bye-bye.